All right, everybody, welcome back to Recliner Sports Talk, episode 18. 18, my number there, love number 18. My name is Nick.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Zach.
All right, a lot on the slate here. Shorter episode than last week. Something Brandon and I have been talking about for a while, too, that we have not mentioned. We do not make any cuts in this. This is all first take. Only thing we cut out is when we're all logging on, and then we stop it at the end of the episode. There's no cuts. So you're getting raw footage, our takes, all that stuff. Okay. So first on the docket here, we're going to talk a little March Madness. Obviously, our picks sucked. Zach definitely kicked our butts in the picks last week there. Are the top teams in the East better than the West? NBA. All right. Obviously, second half here, teams are kind of getting solidified in their spots. NFL free agency again, obviously some big moves still being made. And then our top 5 stadiums we have been to. Okay. So first things first, March Madness, the madness that it's been, all the upsets, most ever, all this different stuff. What do you guys think? Zach, if you want to start there, since you definitely had the best picks out of Brandon and I. And I know Brandon has some great stories there. But what are your comments on the madness?
So far, I think we talked about it a couple episodes ago. I think it's definitely the most fun tournament. It was definitely the hardest tournament to fill a bracket out. Both bracket challenges I'm in, honestly, no one has a really great bracket. But I will say 3 out of my final 4 are still in it, so I'm hoping that sticks. I'm excited about my favorite team, Villanova. Jay Wright got the boys pumped up, got ready. We got lucky. I think we played 2 high seeds, so I'm not really sure if we've been totally tested yet. But with losing Gillespie, they've come out, they played really well. I'm still not on the Oral Roberts bandwagon. I think they lose to Arkansas, but I know a couple fans in here for sure. But I am jumping on the Loyola Chicago bandwagon. I think they end up beating Houston in the Elite 8, and I think they get to their second Final Four in the past couple of years. But like I said, I don't want to talk too much about it, but I'm really excited how Nova got to the Sweet 16. My favorite team, obviously. They overcame a lot of adversity. They changed up their whole offense. They used to rely on the pick and roll. They're shooting the ball. Now they started out really slow their first round game against Winthrop. They were 2 for 10 shooting from 3. I was a little scared there. But they picked it up, and then they did the same thing against North Texas. So been a really, really fun tournament to watch, though. A lot of good games. Syracuse defense, wow. Outside the ACC, hard to handle. West Virginia figured it out, but way too late. But really exciting tournament. I've loved it so far, and I know you guys have too. It's been awesome.
All right, Brandon, give the people your story of how successful you have been this March Madness. I know they're dying to hear it.
I don't know if you guys follow our Instagram, but I posted our Friday parlay that we did. I went 0-3 on that. I did a personal one for Saturday as well with four games on there. I went 0 of 7. Do you know how hard it is to try to pick games correctly and to lose every single one of them? If I had a 7-team parlay with $10, I'd probably end up with like $400 right now, $500. That's how hard it is for you to pick those games correctly. I did it on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And I'm going to release another one on Friday, another parlay. I say you guys just pick the complete opposite of what I picked. You'll probably be rich men. I mean, I'm serious. It was that laughable. I'm that bad. I'm the Marty Mush of Recliner Sports Talk. But anyway, honestly, I called the Syracuse thing. I want to pat myself on the back on that one. Yeah, I called Syracuse. They're notorious for beating teams who don't play in the ACC when it comes to March Madness, because this zone, I don't know, for whatever reason, teams on film can't duplicate what it is in person, and then they get all flustered and everything. Syracuse, it doesn't matter what the record is, as long as they get in, they are a force to be reckoned with when it comes to March Madness. With that being said, I do think Houston wins the game. That bracket, like Zach said, Loyola is going to beat Houston. I have Loyola in my final right now. If I had to redo it again,
so I think that might be the best game of the weekend right there. Loyola
Yeah.
versus Oregon State, right?
I'm going to be honest, that Loyola versus Illinois that game was great. That was a really good game. Loyola they control tempo. They play through Krutwick, the center.
Yeah.
And they run screens off of it. He's a great decision maker. He's a poor man's Nikola Jokic. He's not as athletic, even though Jokic is
that 40-year-old ex-college basketball player still at the Y playing pickup, just doing all that type of stuff. That's the way he plays.
I'm telling you, though, it works.
It does.
And the guys around him, it's all about off-ball movement, and I just don't get it. When it comes to basketball, you don't have to have the greatest guys. You don't have to have these top 10 recruiting class type of guys.
We're seeing it right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
we talked about that.
I always go back to it, how the Warriors played back in their prime. They were just constant ball movement. Nick, stop. Listen to me. Listen to me. Let me finish.
I'm cutting you off. You're bringing up the Warriors in March Madness. They had Kevin Durant. They had Klay Thompson.
No.
Steph Curry. And Draymond. No. Get out of here with that.
Listen.
No. You bum.
Someone needs to, and now it's the Warriors. March Madness.
Play great team.
Someone needs to cut Nick off. Yo, how much have you stop?
Andy Pettit.
Stop.
Come on.
Let me talk.
Get out of here.
No, let me finish. You didn't even let me finish my point, Stephen A. What are you doing? How rude. Listen, the way that the 2015 Warriors moved without the ball is how you play basketball. You don't have to have the most athletic guys or the best shooters or
They have the best shooters ever.
Greg Popovich's team.
My point is, Loyola plays great offense. They play great.
So
they have great ball movement.
To the Warriors.
What?
I'm explaining how great ball movement can be.
The Spurs are the best ball movement team in the NBA that we saw with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. And you bring up the 2015 Warriors, the best regular season team ever in the NBA?
Yes.
My guy.
We're going to let Brandon on that. I'll go real quick. I think the big thing this year is
Can I tell you who I have in my final? You didn't even let me finish.
We didn't say who was in our final. You already said it last time. You already
Loyola versus Gonzaga. That's it.
No, you already said your final. That it was not your final.
Washington, baby. Gonzaga's in the state of Washington.
Yeah, good. Another stretch. Washington University, Gonzaga. All right. Well, I think this year the big teams are not as good, and the small teams are a little bit better. And I think that is the madness we're seeing. It's not that the good teams, like those big schools, are bad. I just don't think they're as good as usual. Where these small schools, this is right up their alley. Look at all these senior, junior heavy teams that are saying, you know what, we've been here, done that, COVID year, not COVID year, whatever. This played into their court, and we see these other schools struggling with it when Loyola's and Gonzaga's and so on and so forth are making those runs. I do predict most of the top teams roll here, like chalk this weekend. I think Oregon wins over USC, but that's a 6-7. So really, that's not saying chalk. If I say I think either of those teams could win, I'm just going to go Oregon there. The only thing that I've been, and it happens all the time, right? But all this outrageous backlash on these college athletes on some of these losses, obviously Ohio State, Illinois, just because, listen, I was very upset I lost a parlay and my March Madness there because these teams lost. The last thing I was thinking about was let me come at these 19, 20, 21-year-olds because they made me lose $5. Come on. It's these people that are betting hundreds of thousands of dollars. And guess what? Eye-opener, don't bet that much money on 19-year-olds. Pretty easy,
Don't
right?
bet that much money in March Madness ever.
Out of anything. Professional sports are even a stretch, but better than college athletics. Come on, man. Obviously, we saw my Big Ten rant. Whack. Pac-12 definitely, though, way up there. And then lastly, I agree with Brandon in an extent here. I'm not saying Loyola is to championship bound, but I do think there's a couple more wins in their future here. Again, they are playing one of the hottest teams in college basketball, Oregon State. That's what you want in the tournament, but Loyola is also hot. Okay. Sorry, we got on that little rant there. Someone brought up one of the best NBA teams ever.
Here we go.
To Loyola, but here we go. So now here's your NBA rant. East, West. We have our top three teams in both, right? I think everybody predicted the top three in the East. The top three in the West, Jazz, Suns, and Clippers, definitely were not in our projections. Maybe the Clippers in that top three. Other than that, the Clippers have been very quietly good this year as well, at least from us East Coast boys over here. So, Brandon, I'll let you, since you've already dipped into the NBA talk, what do you think, East or West?
I literally have it as even as it gets. I had written down right here. I did the math in my mind. My math.
Oh no.
Brandon math. So I laid out the East top four. I laid out the West top four, right? So by record, Philly, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Atlanta last week was like 9th. I don't know how they're 4th, but that's how bad the East is other than the top 3 seeds. In the West, you have Utah, Phoenix, the Clippers, and the Lakers, right? So in my opinion, I think Brooklyn's the best team, right? I still have the Lakers as the second best team.
Who's number
I
one?
have the Clippers as the third.
Month or two.
I have the Sixers as the 4th.
Wow.
Milwaukee 5th, Utah 6th, Phoenix 7th, Atlanta 8th.
You might want to get
if you were to add up,
brain there.
Here's my chicken scratch. If you were to add up, they both equal 18 in my ranking. That means it's as even as it gets, and that is my final answer. I'm not picking a side. They're both the top 4 are even.
Okay, I agree to extent with the even part there, but about the Sixers being 4th, what?
Yeah. When it comes to championship odds, I would put them 4th.
Saying the Sixers are better than the Jazz. It has been proven.
Don't be a homer.
This season.
Don't be a homer.
This season. Zach, has it been proven this season?
It's been proven. Head to head. I mean, you don't.
I have the Sixers over.
I'm just saying comparison. So I only did the top 3. I did not do the top 4. The Nets are better than the Suns. Am I right?
Correct.
They were your team, Brandon. So boom. And then
you're wrong. Read it and weep.
I'm gonna say the Clippers and the Bucks are equal. Obviously, Bucks. I'm watching it right now. PJ Tucker right there. Okay, they're the big thing with the Bucks this year. They're getting some good production out of those role players. DiVincenzo is developing. You pick up a player. Who knows if the Sixers will pick up the player? The Nets don't need to pick up anybody. Blake Griffin with a solid 2 points, but he finally got his dunk there. But again, I think as a whole, the West is better, but that's not the question. The top teams, I'm going the East. The Sixers needed Embiid out. Zach and I, obviously Sixers fans, they struggled so bad without Embiid. And guess what? Without him, they're finding ways to win. And that's exactly what the team needed because they could not play without him. Now, hey, Embiid comes out of the game. Guess what? There is obviously a drop-off, but there has been success without him. Nets are good. That's all I have. We know that. Again, and then the Jazz regular season team, that's what they are. They're like the Houston Texans right there. They're going to have a great regular season. Houston Texans of the past. We're not going to talk about Houston Texans news right now. Then the Suns in experience besides Chris Paul, meh. And the Clippers, again, like I said, have just been quiet. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Lakers are not healthy right now. Who knows what happens with them? Zach, what do you think?
You know, I did the same thing, and I agree with you, Nick. I think the East at the top is better. I think the West overall is better. I actually broke it down into record against 500 or above teams. It's pretty even. The Sixers are 14-9, Jazz are 18-8, Nets are 18-6, Suns are 16-6, Bucks are 11-9, Clippers are 14-11. But if I'm going head to head, I think the Sixers beat the Jazz in a series. I think the Nets definitely roll the Suns in a series. And Bucks Clippers, the Clippers may have the edge. I think they're built for the postseason. They have the vets. Kawhi sits out a lot. Then I broke it down in strength of schedule. So this is where I was like, the Jazz actually play. All 6 of these teams do not play great schedules. I'll say that. But the Jazz actually are a top 10 strength of schedule. I think they were 7th or 8th, but the rest of them are in the bottom half. But the West favors that side. They do have a tougher schedule out of the top 3. But on paper, you can look at all the stats you want. I think the Sixers, the Nets, and the Bucks are better than the top 3 in the West. And that's just how it is. I think the Jazz are definitely a regular season team, and I think the Suns are a typical Chris Paul team. I think they'll get to the postseason, but I think they'll struggle in the playoffs.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. That is NBA. Now, a little bit back to NFL free agency. Zach, I think we both agree here. We will let Brandon go here because he's been chomping at the bit this week to be talking about this. And then, Zach, I'll let you go after that, and then I'll finish up here. NFL free agency, what do you got for me here, Brandon?
I just want to say the Eagles stink. Just reiterate that. One pickup for the Eagles.
How many wins have you had against the Eagles in the past 10 years?
I'm talking about this offseason. I'm not bringing up the past.
The Eagles stink, but you guys can't beat them. You beat them on our worst year. You guys handled us, both of you guys. Congratulations.
All I know is since I've been alive, the Giants have been in 3 Super Bowls and have won 2. The Eagles have been in 2 Super Bowls and have 1. So if we want to bring up statistics from the past, that's the only one that really matters. And the Giants are superior.
We can move on.
Yeah, well, of course. Oh, okay. Anyway, Anthony Harris, LOL is what I have written down. Yes, he's a good safety. Yes, you got him for a steal. 1-year deal, and that's all you did? That's literally all you did. Oh, I forgot. You know why? Because they got rid of Carson Wentz and they have to eat his salary. What a dumb move. That was terrible. Dallas, also dumb move. $40 million for Dak a year? Sorry. Overpay. Keanu Neal coming off an Achilles injury? He hasn't been good since he was on the University of Florida. Bad move. Re-sign Jordan Lewis? Yeah, he was on that terrible Dallas secondary last year. Those 2 teams are the laughing stock of not only the NFC East, all of the NFL. The Giants and the Washington football team both got better over free agency. They're both contenders, in my opinion, biased, but they are contenders. Giants got great signs at needed positions. Now they have a deep roster at almost every position other than edge rusher / outside linebacker and interior offensive line, which you can easily get in this in the round 2 and round 3 of the NFL draft. So they should be fine. If they go edge in the first round or an O lineman, I wouldn't be upset either. Washington, I love Curtis Samuel. Great sign there. I actually love the Fitzpatrick sign. I really think Washington's defense, because William Jackson signed as well, is going to be top 5 with Giants. So we'll see how this goes. I can't pick a side, but I think both those teams should make the playoffs next year. And I'm only going to talk NFC East because, let's be honest, that's the only division that matters. So
we are obviously an NFC East, NLAL East podcast or blog here. So, all right, Zach, what do you got?
All right. Well, first off, I want to say Anthony Harris was a great sign. Yes, it's a It's a 1-year deal, but guess what? Maybe this year with the cap, that's all they could do, and next year they're going to work something else. If he leaves, he leaves. We got to move on anyway. We're rebuilding. But he's been a top 5 safety the past 2 seasons, so I'm excited about that. So I'm going to start with my overrated signings in the NFL, and I'm going to start with the Giants with Adoree Jackson and Kenny Galladay. Now, I am a fan of Kenny Galladay. But I just want to be real. Those 2 last year played 8 games combined. And Adoree Jackson has missed 18 games the past 2 seasons. Now, you have $111 million and $66.5 million guaranteed to those 2 players. Now, we just talked about Dallas a couple weeks ago with how they can't pay people. The Giants always overpay. And I'm going to bring it back to 2016. Olivier Vernon, Janoris Jenkins, and Damon Harrison. Ton of money wrapped up in them, all gone.
Well, here's the thing. And real quick, I don't want to butt in, but I don't know if you heard about the TV deal coming in next year.
Yes.
Dude, the cap is going to skyrocket, and they're basically giving those guys they're paying them, overpaying this year, I'll admit it, but they're projecting it to be of the same type of like the salary next year and in the future should be like league average is what the deal is basically saying.
Now, I'm not saying they're awful signs. I'm not saying if they pan out, they're going to be great. They're great moves because Daniel Jones has a weapon now. And when Kenny Galladay is on the field, he's a top receiver in this league. But you're giving a guy that much money who just missed pretty much a whole season. He's got a hip issue. He played 5 games. He has a bad hip issue. We'll see. We'll see. I just think they're overrated moves. I think they think they're going to turn the franchise around. They have a decent defense already in place.
He's cornerback 2. Adoree Jackson's cornerback 2. They're not expecting him to be the guy. And their safeties are really good.
But you paid him a lot of money. But I don't want to get on it too long. I'm not, like I said, if they pan out, they'll be great. All right, good moves for the team. They went after what you said they need their needs, but I just think they're 2 injury-prone guys. The other one, Bud Dupree. I think Bud Dupree is a very overrated move. He got $82.5 million. He's coming off a torn ACL. He was also on a stacked D-line where they rolled a lot to TJ Watt. Who are you trying to stop? You got to pick your poison. The D tackles were dominant inside too. They were the best D-line in football. Bud Dupree is going to be all by himself in Tennessee. They're pretty much rebuilding their defense. They might make some more moves. I know they got a DN from the Colts. Can't remember his name right now. But other than that, Bud Dupree he's the TJ Watt of that defensive lineman. So we'll see. A lot of money coming off torn ACL. The underrated moves, I'm going to go to the defensive side again. John Johnson and Troy Hill to Cleveland, both leaving the Rams secondary. Both were ranked top 5 at their position. And Troy Hill was the number 1 slot corner once they moved into the slot by Pro Football Focus. I think it's a great move for the Browns because they already have a really stacked roster. Still don't know what they're going to do with OBJ. And Brandon, you brought this up last week, and I even looked into it deeper. Kevin Zeitler to the Ravens. He was a top 15 guard last year and was like top 5 in run blocking. Last season, the Ravens, who are a dominant running offense, their right guard ranked 32nd in the league.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was a great move.
Huge upgrade for them. But that haven't heard it talked about on. I watch Good Morning Football almost every day. No one's talking about that kind of move
because no one talks about offensive linemen for the New York Giants. I watched the game, so you always say Wayne Gallman played well last year. I'm telling you right now, it's because of him.
He did. Wayne Gallman played really good last year in replacement of Saquon Barkley. So, like I said, though, I'm not bashing the Giants. I just think it's an overrated move. I think it might bite them down the road because I think they're both very injury-prone guys. But, Nick, what do you got?
Is Saquon good? Like, I think he's good. But he's definitely not a superstar. So, like, am I wrong?
I'm about to leave.
So, listen. O-line. That's what you said, right? Last year, Goldman had good games. Get rid of a good lineman. You know what they were with Saquon? I don't know if you can see that. 9-24. 9-24 with Saquon. Like, and Daniel Jones, what has he done? What has he done? So there's a lot more moves that the Giants needed to make. Now, their defense, really good. But there's another defense in that division that is even better. And that's the Washington football team. Okay. Last year, Washington was ranked 4th overall. This is on Pro Football Reference. I know there's different measurements, all that. Giants were 9. So that shows the division. I agree with Brandon that I think the NFC East is going to be the best division. I think Dallas is going to be really good. I think Washington is going to be good. I think the Giants defense is going to be good. It will be interesting to see what their offense does. I think Saquon can be opened up. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there with him. Are they going to go pass heavy? They're going to go run heavy. What's going to happen? Last year, he didn't get too many carries. Obviously, he got hurt. Did play that one game, but again, wasn't a crazy amount of carries. So, Brandon, I'm sure we'll get into this. Here's what I think is going to really happen. We're going to have I think we could even do a whole NFL draft show pre and post. But I think all 3 of us can agree we have no idea if these signings are great until after the draft. What do these teams do in the
Absolutely.
draft? Are the Eagles going to get a receiver? They're going to go, if a quarterback's there, who knows? Are they going to go defense? Are they just going to get the best player available? Giants, what do they do? Brandon wants Kyle Pitts or one of these receivers, right? All that type of stuff. Do they do that? Do they go linemen? Because one of those good linemen will be there for the Giants. What does Washington do? They need linemen. They also might just say, let's just keep on stacking that defense up. They got, obviously, Curtis Samuel. So it'll be interesting to see what our division does. And I think the Cowboys are going to draft well. They're going to get someone like Surtain. It'll be interesting to see. I do 100% believe NFC East, NFC all around is going to be the best part of the NFL. NFC East, best division. But again, I think this draft is what makes or breaks all these teams, and Washington is better than the Giants. We will end with that part on there. Hey, Zach, enjoy.
Anyone could say anything on this show.
Brandon, one thing we can agree on, though, Zach can enjoy a little bit of the bottom there for a while, which we have had to deal with a lot of.
Yes.
Obviously, me
It's
a lot more than you.
It's going to be a tough rebuild, but I hope they do it right because Howie Roseman is obviously not going anywhere. So
here's the thing. I think the Eagles will be competitive enough, but because of how good the NFC East will be, it plays in the Eagles' favor because they will also get another early pick next year after this year. And honestly, in a rebuild, that is what you want. So can they be competitive with higher pick in the draft and all that? All right. So last thing we're going to talk about, I told Zach before you got on here, Brandon, this was probably one of the harder ones we did for the top 5. Not because I've been to all these different stadiums, but because I haven't been. And 2, I think some stadiums are just cool, period, compared to the atmosphere. I think maybe one time we could do the top 5 atmospheres in sports that we've been to. But I think the atmosphere kind of adjusted for some of their stadiums. So I'm strictly going, and if you guys did it different, that's fine. My top 5 just stadiums, ones that I think are really cool, I enjoyed. And then obviously some other places would probably be on here if I did it based off the fan base and that type of stuff.
Well, I mean, are we going off of where we've been or off of the consensus?
I'm off where I've been. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I only did where I've been.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Brandon, why don't you go first then?
I just want to say my honorable mention for the worst stadium by far the worst place I've ever been is the Oakland Coliseum. Not even close. That is hands down a terrible experience. I see why the Raiders left, probably just because of the stadium alone. But I didn't see the Raiders. I saw the Athletics play there. Sorry, what'd you say?
I think the Athletics are getting a new stadium proposal. So
are they really?
Yeah.
Good. They need to retire that stadium. Watching a baseball game in a football stadium is an experience, not a good one. I sat upper deck. Man, I could barely see a thing. That stadium's from like 1950. Not good. Which brings me to my top 5, which is ironic because my number 5 is Madison Square Garden. I've been lucky enough to watch basketball on the Madison Square Garden. I saw my favorite team, Duke, play Wisconsin a few years ago in like one of those early season tournament games. And it was like Okafor, Grayson Allen, Tyus Jones, Justice Winslow, or maybe I saw them playing Virginia Tech. I forget which team. It might have been the team after with Luke Kennard. I can't remember. It was one of those years. Anyway, I saw Duke play Madison Square Garden. Awesome. Never seen the New York Knicks play there, but they're laughing stock. Why would I? But number 4, Oracle Arena. I got to see the Warriors play in person in 2019 in March. So right before Clay injured himself. I watched them play the Pistons, and I will say, seeing Steph, Clay, KD, Iguodala, Draymond Green live I'm glad I got to see it. Steph Curry actually at that game crossed up Blake Griffin to the point he fell down. Hilarious. He missed a shot, but still. KD that game had 11 points. He took 5 shots, and he had like double-digit assists. Klay Thompson had a good game. He had like 20-something points. He made like every 3. Curry had like 20-something points. But other than that, Pistons were terrible. My number 3.
Game recap there.
I'm sorry, I had to. My number 3, here's another game recap, is Fenway Park.
All right, we're on 8
And the one and only time, oh yeah, sorry. The one and only time I've been to Fenway, it was a Yankee Red Sox game in like 2017. And it was Gary Sanchez's like first week of playing for the Yankees. And they actually got into a fight. They got into a brawl at third base that game. So I got to see a Yankee Red Sox game in Fenway and in a fight. Awesome, awesome time. Number 2, you've been with me, old Yankee Stadium when we went. I mean, we went in late August of 2008 before the stadium was like canceled or they got rid of it. Number one, and this is actually by a lot. San Francisco Giants, their stadium's the best I've ever been.
I want to go there back.
Zach's sister Sarah and I went out there, and we sat in McCovey Cove for a game, and that stadium is just beautiful with the mountains in the background, the San Francisco Bay. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right, Zach, what do you got?
All right, I'm gonna go pretty quick here. My number 5 was National Stadium. I went the first year they were open. They didn't actually have a lot of fans, so it was a cool atmosphere. I got a couple BP balls. My dad caught a home run ball. I got an autograph. I can't remember who it was, but that's where I go watch the Braves. Obviously, I haven't gone to Atlanta yet, but I really want to get out there. Number 4 is Citizens Bank Park. Watched a lot of Braves games there. Also got to see Barry Bonds play there. Got a lot of autographs and everything. Yankee Stadium is number 3. I have not watched the Yankees there. I watched Iowa State play Rutgers in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Oh, nice.
2011. So it was awesome seeing it as a football stadium. Mohamed Sanu, Logan Ryan, they were on Rutgers that year. I think they had another receiver, big tall dude.
Was Harmon? Duron Harmon?
It was Duron's freshman year. But Brandon Coleman, he spent a little time with the Saints in the league. But they were stacked that year. But that was the year Iowa State kind of like blew up, so it was kind of cool watching them. Camden Yards, I think, is just a beautiful stadium, one of my all-time favorites. I love going there at least once a year. Last summer was rough not getting to any of the stadiums or any games, but I always try to go to Camden Yards. And then Lincoln Financial Field is my all-time favorite. The atmosphere alone as an Eagles fan there is just unmatched. And the best game I ever saw was obviously the playoff win versus the Falcons that Nick Foles led us to. Julio Jones could have been a buzzer beater win. In the end zone, Matt Ryan threw it up. Jalen Mills knocked it out. But a lot of good times there.
All right. Well, my number 5 here, I could not pick between the two because the two are just beautiful. So my number is kind of like 6 and 5 here. Camden Yards, as Zach just said, love going there. Just a beautiful stadium. I've seen the Orioles get beat up on plenty there. And PNC Park, awesome backdrop. Pittsburgh in the background. I've only been there once. It was awesome. It was hot as all get out. It was like a 1:00 game in July, but really cool. Again, seeing the whole city. For Citizens Bank Park, I think we are spoiled being this close to such great stadiums. I also have been to national stadiums, Zach. It is awesome. So we get lucky being here in Delaware, being kind of within that 45-minute to 2 hours of all these stadiums.
Most expensive parking in the country, though.
Yeah.
It's $40.
You have
what
to like
the heck?
Far away and then get the metro, whatever they call it there,
right,
all the way up to the stadium.
$50 to park in their parking garage.
Yeah,
for a game.
It's
brutal.
Then number 3, Cameron Indoor, got to take a tour there. It was pretty cool. They had the girls team practicing in there, and they had like their guys scout team practicing against them. So it's pretty cool. We thought we were like snooping around, and the guy was like, "Hey, we have tours all day. You want to get in?" We're like, "Oh, yeah, show us a tour."
Yeah, we when we played against them, we got to walk around like the stadium and on the court and everything. No one was playing though. The team wasn't there. They had just left. Clemson was in our team hotel, like the night we arrived. So pretty cool, but we didn't get to watch a game there.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't get to watch a game either. Just cool, the history of it. Number 2, Ohio Stadium there, seeing the Buckeyes play a really bad game against Purdue. Just a cool experience. Again, just the historic stadium, walking around those facilities, And again, getting to see a game, obviously being an Ohio State football fan. And then one Brandon and I have been to plenty of times, Lamade Stadium, where the World Series is, Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Okay. Awesome, awesome experience. I know from when we were really young, going on cardboard slides down the hill to walking around the stands, seeing all the different countries and states there, seeing guys like Harold Reynolds, all those different guys commentating. Just an awesome, awesome experience, along with a very cool historical stadium. Went there plenty. Awesome experience. Hopefully one day, Brandon, maybe we can get back there and go see a game as well.
It's been a while.
Yes, see the opposite end of it there. All right, everybody. Well, we are running out of time. We actually ended perfect here with about 2 minutes left. So again, shorter show than last time, but hey, hope you guys appreciate it. We're enjoying doing it. Obviously, episode 18. I know I got my second shot Saturday. Zach's going to be getting his second shot here soon. So only a couple more Zooms, I'm hoping, unless obviously some situations come up, we can get back in person and do this. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. You guys got any last words?
I just wanted to say, Zach, we forgot the University of Tennessee, that football stadium. That's the biggest stadium I've ever seen in person.
Yeah.
Or no, actually Penn State.
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge.
Tennessee was awesome. The checkerboard end zone is awesome. That whole stadium, that whole facilities were just crazy.
Crazy.
But it's just crazy to see how SEC schools are and our like smaller schools here. It's just crazy to me.
Yes, hopefully we get to those stadiums here soon. Obviously, with all the COVID stuff, get back in person, go experience some new ones. All right, everybody. Well, my name is Nick.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Zach.
Thank you for spending another week with us. I can't wait to see you guys next week. See you guys.